we're live, baby. We're live. Get this cooking. All right, I think everything should be live. Make sure. Yep, we're live. Go live. Give me this fucking thing. All right, dual streaming. Go live. Live charting. Go live. There we go. We're up and running. We're up and running. All right. All right, all right, all right. I wonder if I can move that here. And then have this here. Not a bad option. What's up, Matt? What's going on, man? Hope you are doing well. Trying to get all this into frame here. What's going on? What's going on? Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Was it 6:30? We're right on cue. Right on cue. Let's get everything in the chart. I'm trying to think of where I want to start today. Honestly, we had a good session yesterday. It was a pretty good session yesterday. We went a little bit longer than I typically wanted to, but it was a solid session, so I wasn't mad about it by any means. I'm trying to look at some of these charts here. So I've been getting a lot of chart requests. Love the H-bar breakdown. Hope you're right. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate it. I own a lot of H-bar myself, so I am very much looking forward to that happening. I think once we get some of these impulsive waves for Bitcoin off of the lows, I think H-bar is going to outperform. We saw that in the beginning. I'm buying more. I'm looking to accumulate. There's a lot of things that I want to accumulate like right now. It's just a matter of, okay, how much capital do I want to put in? Because there's so many buying opportunities right now. But just looking at H-bar specifically, let me see if I can get it on the chart here. Like we saw right here in this zone right here for H-bar, this specific zone right here, it outperformed a lot of alts in early, what was that, late 2024, when we were getting some explosive moves from some altcoins. Like we outperformed pretty good in this area, and I think it's going to outperform in the wave 3. I'm buying more. Bitcoin goes below 60, I'm all in. Yeah, 100%. Raymond, what's going on, man? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you haven't, welcome to the stream. But yeah, for Hedera, like this initial push, it was like in tandem with XRP, which is really cool. But this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movement, I think is going to be this next move. I'm excited for Hedera in the aspect of this wave 3 next. I feel like is going to be so explosive. It's going to be incredible. Oh, Raymond with the, what is that? What is that emoji? Sent Friar? Friar? Thank you for the gift, man. I appreciate it. All people are bearish. Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Like we have a chance at generational money. Yeah, Hedera, I mean, from right where it's at right now, was it is that 0.09 to the 1.618? What is that? 0.65 to what I 0.09? I mean, that's a 7x right from there. I'm in somewhere down here. I'm in, where did I get into Hedera? I want to say I'm in at like 6 cents for Hedera. I want to say that's my entry price. It's somewhere around 6 cents. You talking about impulsive moves on altcoins? Will that happen in 2026 like Q2, Q3 went? So for anyone that knows my trading strategy, if you've been to the lives before, most of my trading is geared around price targets. It's not necessarily geared around time. If anyone knows of a strategy out there that factors in time, meaning if you look at a chart and then the strategy calls for specific moves to happen in a certain period of time, if anyone knows of a strategy or something that can do that, let me know. I will incorporate it into my current strategy, but I don't know of anything out there that does that. I think timing is one of the hardest things to predict, and I think it's so hard because of what happens with impulsive moves and what happens with corrective moves. They just take a lot of time. Elliott wave theory is more geared around price targets. When you have these wave movements like we have here, like we had a wave 1 back here, we had a 2, and then we have a 1, 2, expecting a 3, 4, 5 movement of this larger wave 3. With that type of stuff, Elliott wave theory is really good for it, but it's not really good for timing wise, is sort of the tough stance on it. But if we look at Bitcoin, for example, I think a lot of altcoins look to be bottoming soon based on their structures. But if we're looking at the Bitcoin chart on, give me a second. I'm also doing it in vertical and landscape on TikTok, so you can view it either in the vertical format or landscape, depending on your preference. But this structure right here for Bitcoin, it's almost done because we've had a 1, 2, 3, 4. We're in the 5, and of this wave 5, we've already had a 1, 2, 3. We're in the 4, and we should see one more dump lower. And subwaves typically happen a lot faster than these major waves. So, like, for example, this is a major wave 4. This is a subwave 4 right here in this zone. This is a major wave 4, and you can see, like, timing wise, it's shorter. It obviously is not at an end right now, so we could see a little bit more chop. But once this subwave 5 happens, it's going to be really quick. It's not going to be drawn out a lot. So for me, I'm thinking beginning of March, because what's today's date? Today's the 19th, so it's not leap year, so that's what, 7, 8, 9 more days to the start of March. I think sometime in March we'll bottom, and that's when we'll start impulsing up. So I think this happens that would be January, February, March. March technically is start of Q1. I would say anywhere between like March and April, I think we start seeing some impulsive moves. But again, like when you're bottoming like this, it could take a little bit of time to start getting the impulses. It doesn't happen overnight. Meaning like even if you get this bottom here, it's not going to be like it could, but it may not be like bottom, boom, and then you're off to the races. It might be, bottom, kind of chop around for a little bit, and then impulse up. So it can take some time. Matt said Blood Moon on March 3rd. I don't trade anything in terms of like, I know that's another thing too, like that people like to factor in their trading, like blood moons and things like that. I'm not too familiar with those strategies, so I don't really factor it in, to be honest. But that could be something that we look at. Could we bottom on March 3rd? If analysis holds right, and based on what my theory is and my thesis right now, this wave 5 should happen. And, do we see that? There's no way I just drew it to March 3rd. I didn't anticipate. I just drew a line down and it ended on March 3rd. So maybe maybe God's telling us that March 3rd is going to be the bottom. I don't know, because I just drew it twice in a row to March 3rd. So we'll let the price action determine that. But I'm thinking in the next month or so, we should bottom. Raymond said, my portfolio is down. Is time to invest now? I mean, again, none of this is financial advice. I can't legally provide financial advice because I don't have my Series 7 or Series 6 licenses. If you would have asked me, how many years ago was that? 4 years ago? If you would have asked me 4 or 5 years ago when I had my Series 6 and 63, and I was a legal licensed advisor, I could provide financial advice. But at this period of time, I don't have those licenses anymore, so I can't legally give financial advice. I can give you my opinion and what I think based on my analysis. For me, right now is a great time to buy. A lot of alts look very undervalued. Bitcoin looks undervalued. MSTR looks super undervalued. So if I were to buy, and I'm planning on buying, once we get this final dip in Bitcoin, once Bitcoin starts doing this, I'm going to start dollar cost averaging into not only Bitcoin, but also a lot of altcoins as well. The when is always hard. Yeah, the when, that's the thing. Like, you can never time it perfectly because the market will humble you very quick. And like this wave 4, I mean, look how long this wave 4 took. And for me, originally, this was an A, B, C, D, E structure, and I was expecting the wave 5 down. And then what did price do? Well, this turned into an A, B, and an extended C. So you can never time it with 100% certainty. You can only look at what price gives you and use Elliott Wave as a guide to predict the next prices. And for me, what I'm thinking ever since December is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're due for one more leg. And of that last leg, we're due for one more. Once that happens, we're off to the races. 930.15 orb. I may be misunderstanding what you mean, Ray. Is bottom for Bitcoin or down more? For me, a little bit more downside. My targets are 60 to 50K for Bitcoin. And I've been saying that now for a few weeks. But this 60 to 50K region right here is my bottoming zone. For Bitcoin, could we, maybe extend further? Possibly. If we were going to extend, do we go to 47? I think that would be, it's possible. I don't know if we extend that low, to be honest. I think we bottom between the 1 and 1.618, between like 60 and 50K. For me, that's my zone that I'm looking at. I'm not trying to time it perfectly. Like, okay, Bitcoin's at 47. I'm going to put 100% of my deployable capital here. My strategy is on this down movement, it's by here, by here, by here, by here. So it's not like I'm looking to time it perfectly. I'm just looking to, okay, what's the next move? Well, the next move for me is down, wait for that movement. And then once that happens, then I start dollar cost averaging in. Because you can never time bottoms perfectly. You can only, for me, dollar cost averaging eliminates a lot of that. And it eliminates a lot of your fear too. Of missing out too. That managing emotions is the key. Thank you, bro. Yeah, absolutely. I have a lot of alts. Yeah, me too. I'm invested in a lot of alts. I have XRP. I got Chainlink. I have Injective, Algorand, Polkadot, Polygon. Like I have a lot of the majors, and some of them have pumped. Like Hedera's pumped, Solana's pumped, XRP's pumped. Like some of the alts have pumped. Others just have kind of stayed stagnant. But I dollar cost averaged in at the 2022 lows, thinking that price wouldn't go lower. But lo and behold, the market likes to humble you. So you can never time it perfectly, but all you can do is prepare. Please go to 50. Yeah, 50K Bitcoin would be such an undervalued position. And if we hit 50, oh my God, the amount of people screaming bear market is going to go crazy. Dollar cost average. Yeah, for me, as soon as Bitcoin kind of crossed it, like as soon as we start getting like these impulsive waves to the downside, that's when I'm going to start dollar cost averaging in. Alts will go down so much if Bitcoin gets that low. For me, yes, but I've been also looking at that, like with Hedera and other ones, like even Ethereum, what we were looking at. For me, like let's just look at HBAR because we were on it the other day and I just happened to mention it. For me, like a lot of the big input, like it's hard to explain, but the way that I'm looking at it is these are the next targets for Hedera. For me, I'm targeting the 0.65 to 65 cents. But a lot of these alts have gotten beaten down so much from their, as long as Hedera stays above 4 cents, this is a valid 1-2. If it doesn't, then we'll have to reevaluate the count, and maybe for Hedera, this is just an extended correction, but this on a smaller time frame right here is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move off of these lows. So for me, this is a wave 1, 2, and then we should get the 3. If Bitcoin goes down, I mean, we're already at what, 66K. If we go down to 55, I don't think alts are going to get beaten down that much because there's been so much selling pressure on them. And a lot of these alts have similar structures to Bitcoin, meaning we've had an A, a B, and then we're in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move down. And on the smaller time frames, we're only due for one more leg lower. Yeah, could we, go lower than, some of these lows? Like, does Hedera come down to 7 cents? Sure. And for me, that'll be a great dollar cost average entry for the next move up, because from these lows down here at 7 cents to 65 cents, which is my next target, that's a 9x. I'll take that all day long. But I don't think alts are going to do what most people think they're going to do. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think what's going to happen is Bitcoin goes down and we get these large liquidations. We've already kind of had that. And alts Hedera has moved from 41 cents all the way down to 7 cents. That's how much percent correction is that? That's more than a 0.786 correction off of this wave 1. Like, alts have gotten brutally, just absolutely cooked. So I don't think they go down much more. We'll get a wave 5. Maybe alts come down a little bit, maybe another 10%, and then we start the impulsive to the upside. Any opinion on Bitcoin long-term potential 2035? I did a hypothetical one on my own time, but we can look into it. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we can use the laws and the rules of Elliott wave theory to project into the future, and I'll show you how. So you just have to abide by the rules, and as long as everything stays, it makes sense. So if we're looking at, and again, this is like a stretch, right? Because you're using current price action to predict a 10-year move, which is, you're not going to get it perfect, but what we can do is Elliott wave rules as a guide. So for me, the next leg up is 200K. So that would be, give me a second. For me, the next leg is like 210. Then after the 210, we should get a correction. So basically we have this wave 1, we're in the 2, we get a 3 all the way up to 210. And then once we get the 3 to 210, say 55K is the bottom to here, we should correct to maybe 150. Maybe we correct a little bit lower, say we correct to 130. And then from 130, it'll basically look like this. You'll get a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3 up here, a wave 4 to 130, and then a wave 5. Now, does that take us, does this happen in 2026, we get a correction, and then a last leg, maybe that happens in the 2029 cycle. Then we get an ABC correction in 2030, and then we get another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movement for the next cycle. It would be all hypothetical, and I would just be throwing out targets and pulling shit out my ass. So, I mean, it can work like this, but it's more of a stretch. But it's essentially something like this. You have a wave 1, we're in the wave 2. We get a wave 3 to 210. Does that happen in 2026? We get a wave 4, a quick wave 4 for 2027. Then we get a wave 5, which, if we use the rules of Elliott wave theory, from 210 to say 130, the next target on that would be like 255 to 280. Could extend depending on what it looks like, but do we get that into 2030? Then we get, a big reset in 2030 of basically this entire move. So you'll have a 1, 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, and then you ABC correct this entire move from 15K to say 300. Then we chop down to maybe, I don't know. Then we chop down to say 150 to 92. And then we start the next impulsive waves up towards, I don't know, 500. But again, I'd be throwing targets out my ass. I can only use what is given to me in this current situation. But you can use Elliott wave theory like that as hypotheticals of like, hey, where's a potential next target? But that's more abstract than, I guess, what the theory calls for, if that makes sense. But something like that. We get a wave 3 to 210, we get a correction to maybe 130, and then we get another wave up. Solana, Sui, Ando, Hedera, Tau. Yeah, those are great alts. Give me $5 Chainlink any day. Yeah, I can't remember Chainlink. I can't remember what the bottom of wave 1 is. I want to say it's like $5.50. So based on my analysis of Link, we can't go lower than like $5.40. So I don't think we'll see $5. But it could happen, and my count could be off. But if my count is correct, we shouldn't see lower than like $5.50. 50K Bitcoin, you may get 75 to 85 cent XRP prayer. We can look at XRP real quick. XRP. So on XRP right now, so I'm trying to go through like each of the comments. I'll get to the comments. I just want to make sure I'm getting everyone's answer. So we could see for XRP, this is kind of what the structure looked like. We had a macro wave 1 in the 2017-18 cycle. This for me was an A, B, C with the 2, and then we're in the wave 3. The next target for me on XRP is $6 based on this being a 1, we're in the 2, and then the 3 should target $6. And we could see a little bit lower dip on XRP. Do we come down to this level? Possibly. I don't know if we go down to 80 cents. Could we? I think we might see maybe a little bit lower, maybe towards $1. I think maybe we bottom at $1 and then we go up. But my next targets for XRP are $6. What is your target for Polkadot, Doge, and SHIB in the next move? So Polkadot, we did an analysis. I'm going to post it later today. Polkadot doesn't really have any structure, and I personally own Polkadot, but Polkadot doesn't have any structure to it. So like looking at this chart right now, we don't have any impulsive waves. Everything's corrective. There's really no structure to Polkadot. Like we don't have, this can't be a 1 with a 2 because the wave 2 crosses below the start of wave 1, so that can't be valid. The only thing for Polkadot is we're waiting for a move off the low. Until we get a move off the low, it's still in corrective territory, and there's really no targets we can use because there's no impulsive movements on Polkadot, unfortunately. Doge, the next target based on the structure, I have a video of it. I'm going to post it later. The next target for Doge, actually, funny enough, is $1. That's the wave 3 target for Doge. How would you use Elliott wave theory? It confuses me when I try. Where's my book? I would get the book that I got that helped me understand Elliott wave theory. 1, it's book, and then 2, it's just trial and error. You just have to get on charts constantly and analyze it and almost like practice a lot, and you have to like just get good at looking at charts and get good at like understanding moves. It's really just trial and error. But the book that I would recommend for anyone that wants to get into Elliott wave theory is this book right here. It's called The Elliott Wave Made Simple, and it's by Steve Sinclair. It's the Elliott Waves Made Simple by Steve Sinclair. It's on Amazon for $10. It's like 130 pages. It's not long. You can finish it in like 2 days, and it provides everything you need to know about Elliott wave theory. It gives you how to trade with it, what are targets, how to use Fibonacci's. Like it gives you everything, and it explains what are impulsive structures, what are corrective structures, how to identify them on the chart, what to look for. So it gives you like all of that. But a quick lesson, I guess, for me, if we go to Bitcoin, because it's very clear on Bitcoin, Elliott wave can be very confusing if you continue to go down on lower time frames because there's a lot more price action on lower time frames. So I would say stick to larger time frames, stick to the monthly candle, stick to the daily candle, stick to the weekly. I wouldn't really go much lower than that because Elliott wave theory is really geared for like more long-term investing, identifying big swing highs and big swing lows, and using this as a guide of when to buy and when to sell. For me, it works perfectly. But like on here, you have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. And then what comes after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Well, you get an ABC corrective, and then you get another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 off of that. So sticking to larger time frames can help alleviate some of the sort of nuances that you have in lower time frames. But hasn't the only time Bitcoin gone way up been after halvings? Great question, Red Cloak. So yes and no. I think a lot of the narrative around Bitcoin, or at least this is my opinion, and everyone has their own opinion on it, but when it comes to investing and when it comes to buying an asset, really the only thing that moves an asset is kind of human emotion to some extent, because there's definitely psychology in it. But like an asset doesn't have to follow a set standard. And I think for us, we've gotten so used to a repeating pattern in Bitcoin, and people have kind of made that into a narrative like, oh, Bitcoin has to follow this because it's happened so many times. I think that's confusing a lot of people right now with the way that the chart looks, because it's very different from a lot of, the past charts or the past cycles where it's like the halving comes, we immediately pump. And then what do we see this cycle? Well, we front ran the halving, we front ran the ETF, and then we've been in corrective mode ever since, because the correction for me started in 2025 of January, even before the ETF and the halving happened. And I think that, when was the halving again? Was it April 2024? Was it 2025? I can't remember when the halving was. Somewhere in that range. Was it? I can't remember when the halving was, to be honest. But I think so many people get that, they lump that in as a narrative that Bitcoin must follow this, or Bitcoin must follow liquidity. I know there's a lot of people that says like, oh, Bitcoin has to follow liquidity. But if you looked at liquidity during this period of time, I think there's a chart out there. Liquidity's going like this. Liquidity's going like this, and Bitcoin's doing this. So it's like, it doesn't, 2024. Okay, yeah. So I think the halving was right around here, April 2024. And then we had one final leg, and then we had this ABC corrective when everyone thought this was going to be the pump into 2025. And I think it threw a lot of people off. So for me, Elliott wave theory helps kind of cut out the noise of the narratives, of the news, of all these different theories that people try to put on specific assets. I feel like everyone just tries to box Bitcoin in, like it must do this because of this, or it must trade like this because of this. It's gonna trade how it wants to trade, and all that you can do is analyze it based on what you have. And for me, Elliott wave theory guides that, and I've been very, I guess, transparent about what it is that I trade on, because I try not to focus on other strategies. It just confuses me. But I hope that answers your question. Buy low, they don't even need to hit all-time high for a nice profit. Yeah, 100%. The whole goal of Elliott wave theory isn't to time. I think a lot of people, when they're looking at strategies, and I could be wrong, but I think the whole goal of any strategy is just to help you make money. It's not to time the perfect bottoms. It's not to time the perfect tops. It's to identify high probability zones that are lows, and then high probability zones that are highs, so you can buy low and sell high. No strategy is going to be perfect. There's no strategy out there that's going to be perfect. It's never going to be you buy now and you sell now. It's always zones. It's always, here's a zone that we can take profits and make some money. If you're worried too much about predicting correct price targets or predicting the exact dollar amount, you're going to lose. You're going to lose every single time, because the market is never going to give you the same thing twice. The market's never going to hit your targets 100% accuracy. They can overshoot, they can undershoot. The only thing that you can use is, for me, I choose Elliott wave theory. You can choose any other strategy you want. You can choose moving average strategies, ICT concepts, whatever you want to call it, whatever your personal preference is. Pick a strategy and stick to it. Every strategy has pros, every strategy has cons, and when you pick, if you're trying to trade an asset or invest in an asset and use 4 different strategies, one strategy may counteract the other one, and then this one may counteract the other one. So stick to a strategy, stick to a plan, buy low, sell high, eliminate emotions, and you're going to win 100% of the time. For me, Elliott wave theory is just the best one that I like. It's very simple. It's very easy to use. It's not too complex. I don't got to be looking at 4-hour charts and whatever. I can look at long time frames and invest for the long term and make money, and that's what it's all about. Man, when Bitcoin hits 210, alts are gonna fly. Yeah, 100%. I think everyone's gonna be caught off guard, because for me, this is the bottom. Like, well, not right now. We're gonna have one more leg lower, and then for me, that's the bottom. But in this 60 to 50K region, everyone's gonna be expecting a short pump and then a dump. I know I've talked about it. I know I talk about it all the time on this stream. We've covered it for weeks now, but I think everyone's thinking pump, dump. That's what I see it everywhere over Twitter. I see it everywhere over TikTok. Everyone is expecting that because they missed the low and they didn't buy down here. So everyone's getting greedy to buy down here, and the market's going to humble them and say, oh, you thought you're going to get this? Oh, well, guess what? I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you a pump, a correction, a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5. And everyone's going to get caught off guard. And for me, that's just my personal opinion. I think the market's going to humble a lot of the bears. I'm not a bull or a bear. I just use what price action tells me. And for me, the next high probability is up. It's not down. 95% of people think we're going down. I think we're going to do the inverse and go up. Kush, what's going on, man? How's your Thursday going? Robin said, I agree. Yeah, I mean, if 95% of all I'll say retail is a broad term. I'm not categorizing people as retail, but when I just categorize it as retail because we're not institutional investors, we're retail. We're just the typical investor that doesn't have hundreds of millions of capital as an institution that's investing. So for all retail traders, if 95% of retail traders or 99% of retail traders all over X, all over Twitter, all over all these social media platforms are screaming boom, boom. I've seen this chart. This is a chart that I've seen. It's a little pump, a dump, a consolidation, and a dump to like 20K. I've seen this everywhere. And I don't know why everyone keeps recycling the same garbage. Like, have your own opinion. Put some content out there with some thought. Stop repeating everyone's chart. I don't look at anything. When this is purely my thesis. I don't look at anyone else's charts. I don't go to TikTok. I don't go to Yeah, herd mentality, exactly. I don't go to TikTok, I don't go to Instagram, I don't go to X, I don't look at other people's shit. I purely only do my own thing. And for me, that's being authentic because I have no one else's ideas in my head. It's just me. That's it. And while I see it, I'll see it scrolling. Like you just kind of sit there and scroll and you see shit. And it's just like everyone's expecting this. And I'm like, it's the same old shit every year. 7 works as well. Yeah, if you get a $7 chain link, that works too. Bought a little V Jake Patrick bought a little V chain today. Let's go. Everyone wants the V chain, baby. V chain pump. Patrick is following the chat, and we're all getting rich on V chain. Webb said thanks. I'll take $1 XRP. I do think XRP gets one more dump to $1, just based on the Bitcoin chart having one more leg lower, and we all know when Bitcoin drops 2%, alts drop 5 to 7. So I do think that Bitcoin has some additional downside, not much, 60 to 50K. And that's what, how much percent is that? Let me see, where's that price range? If we get a drop from where price is now to 55, that's a 17% drop. Okay, so alts may correct 20. So we should get a little bit of correction on Bitcoin, maybe a 10% correction on Bitcoin, probably another 15% on alts, and then from there, for me, that's the bottom, and then we pump up. I agree. Alt's already down 79%. Yeah, I don't really see too much more. I don't see alts going down another 30%. I don't see, a big, huge correction. I see something like a 10 to 20%. Any update on MSTR? We can jump to MSTR for sure. Red Cloak said, I sold on my Pepe and bought VeChain. Okay, let me just preface this. I know that we all love VeChain. I know it does look like a pretty good chart, and I myself am probably going to dollar cost average on VeChain. When Bitcoin starts dropping sub 60, I'll probably start dollar cost averaging to VeChain just based on the chart. It looks very good. It has good fundamentals. And again, I don't know if this is just me being a pro VeChain guy. It just looks like a great opportunity. Am I allocating a huge portion of my portfolio to it? No. I'm going to do a small portion, 1 to 5% of my total portfolio. I'm not saying go all in on it. I'm saying a small portion of my overall portfolio, about I would say 60% of my portfolio. No, I would say 50% of my portfolio is right now is Bitcoin. Another 30% is Ethereum. So that's 80%. I would say another 10% is in high cap alts like Chainlink, XRP, Hedera, like some of these bigger market cap coins, I would say are another 10%. And then I have another 10% in like small cap coins that I don't necessarily see them going to zero, but it's more those high risk, high reward tokens, but it's a small percentage of my portfolio so that I don't lose everything. Again, you want to have a diversification of your portfolio. You want to have some safer assets because, crypto is still volatile and it's an emerging asset class. But I would say 80 to 90% of my assets are in really big market cap positions, 50% in Bitcoin and about 30% in Ethereum. And then I have some small, 1 to 2% allocated into different small cap altcoins. VeChain is involved with the ESA facts. Yeah, VeChain does have some solid real world partnerships. I know they're partnered with Dana White. UFC is a big partner there. So in terms of like fundamentals behind it, it's a great fundamental project. Now, from a technical standpoint, we looked at it yesterday. The potential is a 50 to 70x from current levels for the wave. I'll show it to you because I know everyone is looking at VeChain as like, their prized possession. But VeChain right now for the next target on VeChain is let me get this in a chart here. Hold on. The next target for VeChain is 43 cents based on this structure because we have a wave 1, we have an ABC2, and then we have the wave 3 next, which targets the 1.618, which is at 43 cents. So right now it's a massive buying opportunity. VeChain to the moon, Rocket Red countdown. Let's fucking go, man. I mean, hey, I want to preface this too because I want to be very different than the traditional, like, I'll call them like finance, crypto influencers. Like, I want to have fun too. Like, I don't want to just be like, hey, let me play it safe every single time. Like, that's not my personality. I want to take risks. I like taking risks, but I want to take calculated risks. And for me, having a portfolio and a proper risk management strategy where I have 80 to 90% of my portfolio in safer, bigger altcoins, I can take risks like this. Meaning, if VeChain goes to, say I put $500 into VeChain, right? But I have, let's see, let's do 100 because the math is mathing here. So say I put $100 in VeChain and then I have $1,000 in Bitcoin. Say Bitcoin does a 2x, I make $1,000, right? But say VeChain goes to 0, I lose 100. I'm still net positive $1,900 in my total P&L because the safe investment in Bitcoin performed well. My VeChain obviously went to 0, and in that scenario, I still profit. Whereas if I put 100% of my VeChain, I would lose all my money. So having a proper risk management strategy is very key, which allows you to take more risk because you're in safer assets. So for me, that's my personal investing strategy, is put it into safe assets, take some risks, because VeChain could hit a 70x. You're not going to see that in Bitcoin, at least over a shorter period of time. So take some risks. If I want to put 1% of my portfolio in VeChain and say, fuck it, let's ride, I'm all in. You know what I mean? And I know that I have a safe investment in Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is about 80% of my portfolio. So I can take risks like this. So that would be my only, it's not financial advice, my opinion, but that would be my advice to anyone looking to get into anything, whether it be stocks or crypto. If you want to buy some small cap stocks with a higher beta and a higher percentage yield, you can, invest in the SPY, which is a safe investment. Put 90% of your portfolio in the SPY and take another 10% and put it to a small cap shitter that might hit a 500% gain. But you're covered because of that. VeChain evolved. Oh, what's up, Raj? What's going on, man? How you doing? Welcome. I like that you can borrow on Bitcoin, add XRP, add on Doge, now on Coinbase. That is a nice feature. I will say that is a nice feature. Honestly, 2x on anything, I'm happy. Yeah, I mean, again, you got to remove your fear and greed too. I think at the end of the day, when you get too greedy, for me, for me internally, when I get too greedy, I'm like, oh wait, this might be topping soon. So I looked at, you always got to take some profits. Robin said gambling is fun. I do like blackjack. I will say I do like blackjack. I'm a big blackjack roulette guy. While gambling is fun, I try to limit it because it can become addicting. So I try to limit my gambling. And again, with this, I like to have proper risk management strategy. Oh, Aiden, what's going on? Thank you for the rose again. I appreciate that. Link bottom, I want to jump over to MSTR first because Kush had a question of MSTR, and then we can jump over to Link. I like F-Link out of VeChain, XRP, HBAR at these prices. Yeah, 100% web, 100%. For me, I own all of those besides VeChain, and when we get a dip down for VeChain, I'm probably going to put some money in because I have Ethereum right now, I have Chainlink, I have Cardano, some XRP, I have HBAR. I haven't bought any VeChain yet, but at these levels, it's kind of hard to ignore. So I'll probably look to put some money into VeChain, but again, like a 1-2% max of my total portfolio in something like this. Because again, it's only a 600 million market cap. I mean, it does have price structure that suggests great things because we've been around since 2018. So it has a lot of price structure comparison to tokens that were launched in the past 2 years, which is nice to see. We have a clear 5-wave movement up. We have an ABC down. Okay, what's next? Well, you get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movement up to the 1.618. The fundamentals look good on it. So I think it's a solid play. Let's go to MSTR first. Let's go to Link second, and then Matt, we can go to SPY next. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go to MSTR first, because I know Kush had a question on MSTR. But really no updates on MSTR, to be honest. It's still kind of following the structure. Let me try to get everything in play here. Give me 1 second. So on this structure right here, is that all in? I think, oh wait, a little bit more. I'm trying to get everything in for the TikTok vertical. So for me, MSTR did have a 5-wave movement for the wave 1. So we have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, a wave 5, and then we have this ABC structure. But for me, we just have a little bit more downside with MSTR. I want to say the bottoming targets were between $80 to $100 were the bottoming targets for MSTR. Still no changes on it. Somewhere in this $80 to $100 region, we should bottom. I'm still expecting this because looking at this on the daily chart, you can't see it on here, but we have a 1, 2, a 3, we're in the 4, and then we'll get one final leg 5 for MSTR in the $80 to $100 region. And once that happens, the next target for MSTR is 950. That's my next target for MSTR. And this is another position that I'm looking to take on the wave down. I'm going to probably take a position in MSTR as well. Because the risk to reward on MSTR looks really good. We had an explosive 5-wave move. We're in an ABC. We should maybe correct to about 100, and then the next target's $95. That's a 9x from right there. So, I mean, that's a great investment too. And with MSTR too, you have a long price history. The stock's been around for a very long time. And obviously it's a traded, stock. So you get that kind of added security, if you will. It's still a volatile token in still a volatile stock in the grand scheme of things. You get really big swings on this. But for me, one more low down to the $100 to $80 range is sort of my bottoming zone. And then we should expect 950 as the next target for the wave 3. Let's go over to Link now, because I know Remy had a question on Link. So let's go over to Link. I think everything's saved from Link. Where did it all go? I had it all here the other day. Where am I looking at the different chart? I can redraw. Essentially, we have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5 of an initial wave 1. And then we have this A, B, C corrective down for the wave 2. And then so far for me, we've had a wave 1, and then we've had like this complex wave 2, and then we should expect a wave 3 up. For Chainlink on the smaller time frame, it's not on here currently, but for this purpose, we had a 1, 2, a 3. We're in the 4, and we should get one more leg lower for Chainlink. I don't think the bottom is currently in for Chainlink based on the technicals and what the chart is suggesting. We should see maybe around $7 for Chainlink for a bottom, and then the next target for Chainlink is, if we bottom at, say, $7, the next target for Chainlink is 35. That's my next target of Chainlink, meaning this is the wave 1, the wave 2, and then the wave 3 target is the 1.618 at $35. So that for me is what's next on Link. But the two positions that I'm looking to get in right now, just because I've allocated a lot of my portfolio, like a lot of my funds that I allocated into crypto were back in 2023. So I've already kind of put a lot of my, like Chainlink, I'm still up on my position. XRP, I'm still up. Gerald with the Galaxy. Thank you, Gerald. I appreciate that. I'm still learning some of the technology of TikTok Live, but thank you for the Galaxy. Dub in the chat for Gerald. Dub in the chat for Gerald. That's a Galaxy. That's awesome. I still don't know what those are, but thank you for the Galaxy. I appreciate that. Hope it helps your TikTok algorithm. I appreciate that. I hope it does too. I'm still working around TikTok for whatever reason. Nice, Gerald. Yeah, Gerald with the Galaxy. Dub, Gerald. With TikTok Live, for whatever reason, if you're sharing a web browser and you have like, my face is in like the corner of the screen, and then, or on TikTok vertical, it's at the top and the screen's below. The way that TikTok's AI algorithm works is when you go live on TikTok and you have your camera obviously in it, and then you're sharing a web browser, it thinks that your content is unoriginal and it flags it as an unoriginal content, and it won't push my live stream out to new people. It'll only be restricted to my followers, which is kind of hurting the reach because I do want to expand it to other people outside of my followers. That's obviously just purely TikTok. I am live on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, which obviously pushes it out. But for whatever reason, TikTok keeps flagging my shit as unoriginal, and I'm trying to work with TikTok support to appeal it and figure out what the hell is going on. But TikTok's been a real pain in the ass since they've made since Oracle bought them and they made this new AI update. It's been a pain in the ass, and apparently it's affecting creators, like a lot of creators out there. They keep getting flagged for unoriginal content, and it's like you're just showing your screen, and it's very annoying. TikTok wants gifts to make money, chicken and egg. Yeah. Likes are free. Tap the like if you guys want to help. Yeah, if you like it, it does push my content out, which is 100% true. So I appreciate the support with that. But for most of my portfolio and my portfolio allocation, I bought heavy in 2023. So like Chainlink, I'm in profit. XRP, some of the other tokens, I'm down a little bit because like Polkadot, for example, has retraced lower than 2023 lows. For me, a lot of these tokens had ABC corrections. And, ooh, a heart. Heart, that's pretty cool. But I bought heavy here with this ABC correction. But there are other tokens that I want to invest in. MSTR is on my radar at $1 cost, and VeChain. Those are the two ones that I'm trying to pick up in the short term. How confident are you that altcoins rally is really coming soon? For me, I am confident in it just because of the way that Bitcoin chart looks and the way that a lot of these altcoin structures look. They all look to be bottoming soon based on, like, Chainlink obviously is more of a complex structure, but like Sui, for example, looks like it's bottoming soon. HBAR, all these things have like one more leg lower, and then once we get that, the next move is up. I don't see any other, like, based on, unless we get a further correction, which could be the case, where we get something like this, where this is a correction, and then we get a further kind of A, B, C, D, E choppy movement. It's valid. It's not necessarily off the table, but my high probability is the next because there's so much fear in the market right now. Everyone's scared, everyone's nervous, and that is the perfect opportunity for just explosive movements off. When there's max fear, it always reverses to the other side. We get max fear, you're going to get this huge euphoric leg up for the wave 3 where you'll have like Chainlink going to $35, VeChain doing explosive moves, XRP doing explosive moves. Then everyone's going to get euphoric and everyone's going to start funneling into crypto because of the appeal of crypto and how fast these tokens move. And there's going to be a complete shift from max fear to max euphoria. And that point, I'm going to get not more nervous. It's not nerves. I'm going to get more cautious because once we get these huge explosive moves up, I'm looking to take chips off the table, whereas other people are looking to buy because for whatever reason they decided I'm scared to buy down here. I'm going to wait until price proves to me that it's going to continue going. And what typically happens in the way that Elliott wave theory works is you get a wave 1, a wave 2, everyone thinks it's a false rally and that we're going down. So what happens is typically retail does this. You get a wave 1, a wave 2, everyone doubts it. Then you get an explosive wave 3, retail buys in at the top, you get a short correction, and then you get an explosive 5. And all of retail is buying on this wave 5, which you should be doing the inverse, and you should be selling on wave 5, not buying. But retail never, they're just too emotional when they trade, and they're going to follow their, gut feeling or their uncle told them that crypto is going to 500K. But for me, my strategy, and this is what I'm doing moving forward, is once we see the 1, 2, the 3, I might take some profits on the 3, wait for the 4, and then the final wave up 5. I'm going to be all the way out on the wave 5. As soon as that wave 5 comes in, I'm chips off the table, and I'll wait till the bottom. And then what'll happen is, we'll get something like 2022, right? We'll get a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, a wave 5, and then what comes next after a 5-wave move? Well, you get an ABC correction. What'll happen is you get the A wave, retail gets nervous again because we're going down. You get the B wave bounce, which is typical, and what happens is retail starts buying again, or if they're late to the party, they start buying, and they think that this is going to be an extended rally up, and then lo and behold, price corrects, everyone sells, you get massive discounts, and then boom, you buy down here, and then you wait for the next 5-wave move up. So it's just a game of playing emotions and using your strategy to best gauge when buying zones are, and for me, that's my strategy moving forward. Big question is where the liquidity is coming from. See, I get that question all the time. I'm going to show you something. Oh, wait, James, thank you for the little crown. I must have missed that. Thank you for the crown. I will show you a chart, and I think it will answer the question of liquidity. Again, I don't trade based on liquidity. I know that there's a lot of investors that trade based on that. I've seen scenarios on Twitter before that have shown liquidity going up and asset prices going down. And then I also see the inverse where liquidity goes down, asset prices go up. I don't know how much correlation is there. Have people put models together to model how much liquidity is correlated to asset prices? Sure. Has it worked in the past? Yes. Can that be a strategy that you trade off of? Yes. That's just not my strategy, so I don't really factor liquidity into it. I just let markets tell me what is next. And for me, Bitcoin's already went through a 5-wave move. We're almost done with an ABC, and then after that, we get an explosive move up. And I'll show you where I think that's going to come from. Price discovery is always a difficult pivotal point. User fibs. Yeah, price discovery is always difficult, and it catches a lot of retail off guard. That's why I like to use these strategies. Like once you get a 5-wave move, for me on the 5th, I'm out. Because I don't want to be playing around with timing the top. Once I see a 1, I see a 2, I see a clear 3 on the chart, I know that there's a one last dip and a pump. That's it. That's all that's left in a move, unless you get an extended wave 3, which can happen. But once you get that, it's sayonara, and then you wait for the bear market. Don't get greedy, take some profits. But I'll show you where we were looking at this yesterday. So there's so much news going on right now. I think it was this one. Was it this one? Is this the monthly chart? No, that was the one. We were looking at, where was it? Was it this one? I think it was this. No, it was a different one. We were looking at the gold chart and it had the entire price on it. Is it this one? No. There was one that had like the entire gold chart from like the 1970s or some crazy. I think it was maybe this one. No. Commodity. I think it was this one. Nope, that's not it. I'm trying to find the one that we analyzed yesterday. It showed like the entire from the 1970s all the way till now. I think it was this one. Yeah, I think it was this one. So on the monthly chart of gold, and I think this is where a lot of liquidity is going to come from, or in the sense of like, hey, where's the liquidity going to come from? So what are you seeing right now? You're seeing tons of articles out of gold's going to 7K. Gold's not, the top is not in for gold. And I think this is just a lot of institutions trying to sell their position, and a lot of institutions trying to say, hey, we need retail to buy gold so we can offload our positions. Because again, when you're dealing with markets, there's always a buyer and there's always a seller. In order for a market to operate, you have to have a buyer and seller. It has to be an equal exchange of basically money back and forth, right? If someone wants to sell a stock, you have to have someone to buy it. And when you have institutions that have huge positions, you need massive amounts of buy orders for them to fill it. And the way that they do that is by producing bullshit articles that hint on investors and traders' emotions to get them fearful, to get them scared, to either get them to buy or get them to sell directly to the institution that's putting that article out. And what I'm seeing all over the place is gold's going to parabolic new all-time highs, silver's going to, like, all these commodities are going absolutely crazy. And they're putting negative news articles out about crypto. And it's just funny because I think the inverse is going to happen. They need retail to buy up here so that the big institutions can sell to them. And then they need retail to sell their crypto to them so the big institutions can buy. And if you look at this from an Elliott wave theory standpoint, you have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and then a wave 5. So you have a massive 5-wave move on gold. And what's next for gold? Well, you get an ABC correction of this entire move. So you get this big ABC corrective move down. And that'll happen over the course of, maybe a year, however long. But based on this chart of what gold's price looks like structurally, you have a massive 5-wave move, which then gets corrected with an ABC. You're going to have big institutions selling gold. And where are they going to put that money? They have to find somewhere to put the money. They're not going to put it into a bank account. They're not going to put it into mutual, like a money market fund. They're going to find an undervalued place to put money. And for me, what's that right now? Well, it's crypto. How many cryptos are undervalued right now? You see Bitcoin's corrected, 50% since the all-time high? That's a deep discount. You've seen altcoins correct 70 to 90% from their 2024 highs or whenever their highs were. So you have massive discount opportunities on crypto. Institutions are going to sell gold because they've hit a high run up, and then they're going to rotate into crypto. And then retail is going to panic sell gold and buy crypto later once crypto starts going parabolic, and then it just rinses and repeats. I feel wave three are always the biggest because those who are in the opposite direction have to close. Yeah, wave threes are always the longest for sure. I mean, it can be depending on the situation. Typically speaking, with the rules of LA wave threes are always the longest. They can never be the shortest. You can never have a wave three shorter than a wave one or a wave five. It always has to be either the longest wave, but it can never be the shortest wave. So you are in that fact. That's why wave three always extends to the 1.618, because typically what you get is, I can draw it on the chart. Typically what you get is this. Let me move this gold chart out of the way. The way that it works is like you have a wave one, and then you have a wave. Oh wait, that's not even in frame here. Is this in frame? So you have a wave one, and then you have a wave two. And everyone, based on psychology of how Elliott wave three works, is all the institutions buy at wave one. You have this impulse up. Then you have the wave two, and the emotional state of wave two is max fear, max doubt. They doubt this rally. They say this rally can't last. Everyone thinks this rally is going to dump down and continue lower. And then what happens is price starts pushing up. Then retail FOMOs in and says, oh shit, I need to get in on this position. It's going crazy. I need to get in. So then about in the middle of the move, you get this explosive move for the wave three. Then you get a wave four correction. Any retail that didn't buy in wave three buys in wave four. So wave four is typically shallower than wave two. So wave twos are typically deeper, wave fours are typically more shallow, because you have retail buying here. Any late players of the game will buy here, and then you'll get a wave five up. Retail will funnel in on this wave five, and then what'll happen is institutions will sell to retail in this wave five, and that's why typically wave five is the shortest wave, because there's a lot of selling pressure that happens with the players that were buying in on wave one. They're like, oh shit, I've hit, a 2-3x from the bottom. I'm good. I'm going to take profits. So they're selling all their positions to retail, and then retail buys at the top, and then you get an A wave, and then you get a bounce B wave. All of retail thinks this is going to be this. Retail thinks we're going to extend lower, and then what happens is institutions sell here, the bounce happens, more retail buys, institutions sell again, and then you get a wave C correction. So that's how markets move, is you get a 5-wave move, and then you get an ABC correction that corrects this entire structure. And then what happens after that? Well, you get the institutional players identify a deep discount in an asset, and then you get a wave one, retail doubts it again, then you get an impulse of wave three, and then retail buys in later, and then it just repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. And you can see it on all charts all the time, and it's very funny. Once you start like identifying these things, you're like, oh wow, like you can see a 5-wave movement and a 3-wave movement down. But psychologically speaking, that's how sort of markets move, and that's typically what happens with assets. You get deep discounts, retail buy at the top, and then you get sell, and then deep discounts, then rinse and repeat. Raj should make sense. Yeah, I think a lot of institutions are going to sell gold and rotate to crypto. I'm waiting for that final dip. Then barrow against my crypto, buy more crypto. Yeah, I mean, I don't really sell my Bitcoin, so full transparency, like I buy and hold Bitcoin. That's one that I don't necessarily sell. With Ethereum, it's going to be a decision depending on what the levels are, that we hit. For me, my next target in Ethereum is 7,500. If we hit that level, I'll probably take some profits, but I'm debating if I want to keep my Ethereum for long term or wait for another correction after this next move and then buy it. So I'm kind of debating with that, but Bitcoin I don't sell, I just buy and hold. And then for me, all the other altcoins like HBAR, XRP, all those, I'll sell all those when we get our 5-wave moves to the top. Coinbase just opened a product, loan against your crypto. I saw that too. I saw that you can take loans against your crypto, which could be an interesting strategy launching it now, because retail could take a loan against their crypto and then buy more. So that could also fuel, a rally and stuff like that. Why did Bitcoin drop so much? Just due to market structure, just due to the seasonality or not seasonality. Why am I saying seasonality? Just due to the nature of kind of how charts move, and I'll show you why, so that it can be like better explained, so you can understand it a little bit easier. Markets typically move in a 5-wave move up, and then you get a 3-wave move down. So after this 5-wave impulse up, we're in the 3-wave correction. And once we bottom at like 60 to 50K, then we'll start seeing the up again. Dap said the Nixter, what's going on, man? How's it going? Welcome to the stream. I appreciate you coming to the stream and showing support. I actually want to watch Strategy get liquidated. It would make It would make a story to witness. It would make a very interesting story. I just don't think it'll happen. I don't know what their cost average. I know Sailors said something around, hey, we can weather the storm until 8K Bitcoin. I think that a lot of people are hoping that that's going to happen, and then that's why I think is going to fuel the next rally. We'll see. I don't know what, his liquidation prices are. I have no idea, but I don't think he'll get liquidated, but it'd be very interesting to see if he did, because that would make a hell of a story. He can weather the storm if shareholders back him. Yeah, another point there too. Wait, I wanted to look at Matt over on YouTube said, can you look at SPY? Yeah, let's look at SPY, because we did Chainlink, we did Bitcoin. Now we're going to look at SPY. Let's see here. Let's look at SPY. So typically when I'm analyzing charts, it does take me a decent amount of time. So I'm doing it on the fly here, which comes with its challenges. But I typically like to analyze charts on more of a, take a couple days or a day to make sure I'm getting it right. But on Mr. Carlo, what's going on, man? How's it going? For me, we definitely have this. So we can mark this out on the chart for SPY. We have, the lows down here in the 1990s. We have a wave 1, and then we have this big ABC corrective move. So for me, we can mark that out on the chart as a wave 1 and a wave 2. If I can get it down here. So this is a wave 1 with a wave 2. I'm just going to put these off to the side right now until we analyze this structure a little bit more to determine where a 3 would be. So for me, this is definitely a wave 1 with a wave 2. Let me change the color of that because I don't like blue with the chart there. And then let me change this to primary so we can get the big numbers on it. So for me, we do have an SPY macro wave 1 with a macro wave 2. Now diving into this next move up, we do have, does this extend more than 1.618? Kind of does. All right, if you're on TikTok, switch to landscape because this is a big chart and I can't fit everything in vertical. But if you're on YouTube, no worries because you can see everything. Let's see. I would have said this was a wave 1, wave 2 or wave 1 with an ABC, but this almost looks like this is a wave 1, this is a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and then a wave 5. Okay, perfect. So this for me is a wave 3. And the way that we're going to be able to check that, and that would make sense because we had a wave 4 in 2020. So that was a big wave 4, which makes sense because we didn't correct lower than wave 1, which means this is valid. I just want to make sure that this validates the fib extension. So wave 3 up here almost extended to the 2.618. It was more than this, so that makes sense. And then, yeah, because this is a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and then this wave 5 with the wave 4 in 2020. This is obviously a huge macro wave. Like this, we're analyzing SPY on like a huge macro wave. But structurally, it makes sense because on this, we do have, there is a 5-wave movement here with a 2-wave movement. And then of these, we have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3. 2015 or wave 1, and then we have a big correction in 2000. What was that? 2008? No, 2008 was back here. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then of this smaller chart, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, 4, 5, and then of this smaller chart, we have a wave 1, a wave 2. Does that cross below? Ooh, that's freaking close. Hold on. We need to see what that high is. What is that high? High of 479.98. Low of 481. So it didn't cross. Okay, so that validates. So then we have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and then SPY is in the final wave 5 of the final wave 5. Now, what are targets for it? Well, we can take here. Let's see where we're at. And then go down to the bottom. So well, wave 5 targets the 1.618, and we're chopping around the 1.618, boys. So, okay, hold on. Now what we can do is analyze this wave 5. Oh, wait, you can't even see it on the chart. Hold on. So we're in the wave 5. Let me see if I can get everything in the screen here, because now we've analyzed it on a big time frame. Let me move this up here. Okay. So if you're with me on YouTube, you can see the entire structure. If you're with me on TikTok, I'm trying to fit it all in. This is essentially what the structure looks like on SPY. We have a massive movement, like massive. I mean, look at this has happened since 1993. That's a massive movement. So you have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5. We are currently in the wave 5, and of the wave 5, we are in sub-wave 5 of wave 5. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to analyze the sub-wave 5 to see how many waves of the sub-wave 5 we've had so far, and then we can find a potential top for SPY. Hey Nick, everything good? How are you? Yeah, doing good, Carlo. Doing good. I appreciate that. Patrick, like up the live. Yes, the like up the live does help. Bought $200 of VeChain today, just better. Patrick's in, boys. Patrick is in. We are riding VeChain. Red Cloak over on YouTube. We are riding VeChain to the freaking moon. But again, not financial advice. What is your YouTube channel? Same name. It's just Nicholas.Cassesi. Same thing. I will start. I'm gonna do it next week, or not next week. I'm out of town next week, so I won't be able to go live next week. But when I return, I will be doing essentially what we just did here on SPY, like this big long-term analysis. I'm going to be doing longer form YouTube content, and I'm going to be posting that to my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in subscribing to the YouTube channel, I think you have to subscribe for the notifications. You don't have to subscribe. Obviously, you can if you want to. It helps me. It helps the channel grow. But the purpose of what I want to do is take charts like this and do a deep dive and analyze it on a monthly time frame, on a weekly time frame, on a daily time frame, and upload those to my YouTube channel so that it's not, just these short clips that you see on TikTok where I'll post, here's my SUI targets and it's like a minute video. No, I want to do like a big deep dive of charts for you guys. You can see when you guys request one, like, if you request VeChain, I'll do a 20-minute video on VeChain, analyzing it on the monthly, the daily, the weekly chart time frames, putting out targets, putting out bottoming zones, like the whole 9 yards. So if you want to follow me on YouTube for those videos, go check it out. It's the same username. I think it's just Nicholas.Cassesi is my username on YouTube, but let me confirm here. I should know my YouTube name, but to be honest, I forgot. Let me see. Yeah, it's just Nicholas.Cassesi. So the exact same thing as my TikTok. I believe I have my link tree in my TikTok bio. So if you click that, all my socials are on there. So I have my Instagram, my Twitch, Kick, YouTube. Everything should be in there. But I will be doing that soon and doing more deep dives and deep analysis on my YouTube channel. Matt said, thinking it's time to rotate capital out of SPY. Well, let's go into the wave 5. Let's see how much more potential juice we have. But based on this chart, this is essentially what we're expecting next, or at least what I'm expecting next based on Elliott Wave Theory rules. If we get a 1 through 5 movement like this, we typically should retrace It depends. It depends on how deep the retracement goes. Like essentially what you'll see is something like this. You'll see like an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave, and we'll be able to kind of gauge what a potential bottoming zone is. But this can be considered a 5-wave move of a larger wave. So essentially, the way that Elliott wave theory works is you have waves within inside of waves within inside of waves. So you have a 5-wave movement of a larger wave 1, you have a 3-wave movement of a larger wave 2, then you have a 5-wave movement of a larger wave 3, and then that large wave 3, large wave 1, large wave 2, large wave 3, you have a large wave 4 and a large wave 5, and of those large waves you have smaller subwaves. So if this can be considered one huge macro wave 1, which would mean this is a 5-wave movement of a macro wave 1. And then what'll happen next is you get a big macro correction, wave 2. And then after that, you get a big macro wave 3, which happens over the course of, you know, for this chart, what, 1993 to 2026? What is that? How many years is that? 2026 to 1993, what's that, 30 years? 2026 minus 1993, that's a 33-year move. So after that, you'll get, you know, another potential 33-year wave 3, and wave 3s are longer, so you'll have, you know, a big wave 1, big wave 2, big wave 3, big wave 4, big wave 5. That'll happen over a course of a period of time. Using Elliott wave as a guide, that's essentially what we're looking at. Now, if we get a 1 through 5 move like this, the next target for it is 370. If we correct to the 0.5, if we go through, typically wave 2 is correct to about 0.618, which is at 293. So anywhere between like 370 to 300 is the next target for SPY, which is insanity because that would be basically cutting the price in half, which would be a huge correction. And I think a lot of people are expecting that because you see it all over Twitter and everything, you know, 2026, recession indicators, yield curves inverted, yada, yada, yada. But if that happens, we get a massive recession like this, you know, we could get a 50% correction in SPY and we could go down to 370 and the Elliott wave theory charts suggest that. High speed, what's going on, man? Does Elliott wave theory apply to basically all assets like equities and crypto? Correct. Yeah, it can be used across any market. You can use it across cryptos, commodities, stocks, bonds. Anything that you can trade with a chart, you can use Elliott wave theory for it. And you get these, you know, Fibonacci numbers based on the strategy. But looking at SPY, that's quite shocking. That's quite scary to look at, to be honest. Like if you're looking at this right now, that's a massive correction. I mean, that's a 50 to 60% correction based on, I mean, we could get a shallow one, right? We could go to the 0.382 at 470 or 450. We could go down to the 370 or the 293. It really just depends on how corrective the ABC structure gets. But let's dive into the final wave to determine where we're at. So on the monthly time frame here, this is what we have. Let me zoom in so that y'all can see this. So of this wave 5, we have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and then we're in the 5th. We're in the 5th of 5th. So think of Inception. We're in the guy's mind, inside the guy's mind, inside the guy's mind. So now what we're going to do is drop down from the monthly time frame and analyze this section right here. That's what we're going to analyze on the weekly time frame. So we're going to drop down from the monthly to the weekly to identify what potential we can see from the weekly. Now, let me do this. To be honest, the weekly doesn't look too clear. Let's go to the daily. I want to look at the daily and see what we got here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get everything in the chart for the TikTok vertical. If you guys hit the square in the bottom corner, it flips to horizontal and you can see my whole screen. With the daily chart, it's a little bit harder to do. So let's see what we got. This honestly looks like, let's analyze chunk by chunk here. This doesn't correct. This almost looks like, let me see if it validates the rules. Hold on. That's shorter than wave 1. But, so we came up here. So that's shorter than wave 1. This technically could be a wave 3. So, but let's see if wave 5. Wave 5 is significantly shorter than this wave, so technically it does fit the rules. Wave 3 doesn't have to be the longest, but it's not the shortest. So you have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5. Then you have a, let's see, does this go above the expanding flat? It does not. So then you have this wave 1, then you have a 3-wave movement here for a wave 2. And then out of that wave 2, what do we have? 1, 2. This could be a 1, 2. That can't be a 3, right? No, that's hella too short to be a wave 3. So that would be a wave 1, a wave 2, and then let's see, of the 3, we've had a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, a wave 5. So there's wave 3. So we have this wave 1, wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5. So that's the 3. Wave 1 here, wave 2, wave 3 here. Then we have a 4. But the 4 looks like this is an extended 4. Okay, let me mark this out. Hold on. Bear with me a moment. SPY is looking like it's going to top soon. But let me mark it all out so that you guys can see exactly what I'm looking at. And for those on TikTok, I will zoom in so that you can see everything. Wave 1, wave 2. Wave 1, 2. Shit, I lost my footing. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. No. That's why. This is the wave 3. Wave 4, hold on, the wave 1 was up here, right? Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, 5, wave 2. And the wave 2 is here. Yeah, because that could be an A, B, C. Doesn't really matter if the wave 2 or the wave 2 starts here. It really doesn't matter. It could be here or there. It doesn't really matter. Then wave 3, wave 4. All right, so we're in the wave 5. Next target, I have $2 for ADA thoughts. We can dive into ADA for sure. Let me get this in the weekly so that you guys can see this entire section here. So let me change the colors of this to green. That's not as clear as I want it to be. Let's go teal. And then let me take off this so that you can't see that. And then we'll put this up here. And then we'll change this to minute so then it doesn't look the same. Okay. So this is essentially what we have on SPY. We have a wave 1 here, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and we are in the 5th of 5th. So SPY is looking like it's going to top soon. And of the wave 5, we can use the fib retracement tool to find out where the next target is, which is right at 713. So the next target for SPY is 713 before, remember, we get this massive correction. So we still have a little bit more upside on SPY. Not much by any means, but we have a little bit more upside of SPY. Somewhere towards the 713 number. We're currently at what? 684. So not much. But of this wave, smaller wave 5, to me it almost looks like we have an impulse 1 and we're in a 2, and then we should see a 3, 4, and a 5. So there's probably like 3 more movements left for SPY, and that's it. For me, based on the structure we're looking at and based on the analysis we just went through, there's maybe 3 more movements with SPY, and it's topped. And then from there, we get the massive... And then from there, you see kind of what we're looking at here. Let me get it all into frame. But essentially, we're in the 5th of 5th, and then we get something like this. We get an A movement, a B movement, and then a C movement that basically corrects some... Oh, wait, that's too big. Hold on. We get an A movement, a B movement, and then a C movement. Something like this towards the, call it $400 range. So it's almost close. damn near topped for SPY. There's still 3 more subwaves of the larger wave 5. Once that happens, something like an ABC over the next, I don't know how many years. It's hard to tell how long corrections will last, but we'll get an ABC, something like this, down to like the $400 range. So that's what's next for SPY, using Elliott Wave Theory as our guide. Any questions on that? Or does this sound, or am I far-fetched here? I'm curious your thoughts. But essentially, that's what's next. Which doesn't look great, if I'm being honest. It doesn't look phenomenal. It looks... SPY, we're going to say bye-bye SPY for a good bit. And I think what'll happen is, and this is why everyone keeps saying, looked like the end was near. Yeah, it's very close. It's got about 3 more subwaves, and then it's bye-bye SPY, at least short term, or at least, for a period of time, and then we'll get the impulses. But what I do think is going to happen, and I get this question every single day, is where's the liquidity for crypto going to come? Where's it? Right freaking here. That's what's going to happen, is we have gold topping, we have silver topping, we have SPY topping. Guess what? Everyone looks to put their money somewhere. Everyone looks to put their money somewhere. You have to park it somewhere. Where are you going to park it? Are you going to park it in gold? Are you going to park it in SPY? Are you going to park it in silver? Are you going to park it in a mutual fund? Are you going to park it in crypto? You got to find places to put it. And what typically happens with investing is strategic investors seek undervalued positions to buy in when no one wants it, wait for the pump, and sell. Typically, that's what happens, right? You find a position, you say, hey, this is undervalued. The market's undervaluing this position based on fundamentals, based on technicals, however you want to frame it. This position looks undervalued. I'm going to buy here, and then I'm going to wait. When everyone starts buying into buy position and it starts going up, I got in before the masses, and then boom, you make some money. For me, you're going to have these big A waves on SPY. You're going to have these big A waves on gold. You're going to have these big A waves on silver. You're going to get these massive corrections. Where's all that money going to go? It's going to funnel into crypto, because crypto's down 50 to 90% of most assets. It can go to other stocks too. But you have massive 5-wave moves for SPY. You have a 5-wave move, a 5th for gold. You have a 5th for SPY. Silver looked like it was maybe in its 3rd, but you're going to have a 4th for silver. Copper looked like to be in its final leg. You have all of these assets that have been running parabolic over the past year. Guess what's going to happen? There's going to be a sell-off, and then investors are going to funnel to crypto, and then retail's chasing commodities, and then they're going to chase crypto once they start seeing it pump. So there's your liquidity right there for all your people asking for where's liquidity. Can we do an analysis on gold? Yeah, 100%. We can do that. We did that yesterday, but I can do the same thing we just did for SPY. I want to jump to Cardano first, because Webb had a question on Cardano. So let's jump to Cardano first, and then let's go to gold. And for Cardano, it'll be... for Cardano, it'll be quick because I have everything on the chart. I don't have to edit anything. But Cardano, for me... Let me get everything in the chart. We've had a 5-wave move for Cardano. And then what we're in right now is basically just corrective territory. So we have an A wave, a B wave, we're in the C wave. For me, Cardano and a lot of altcoins are going to bottom soon. We should see one more dip lower. Does Cardano go to, 20 cents, somewhere in that region? We should see a little bit more dip on Cardano, a little bit more dip on other altcoins when Bitcoin makes its final move down, which is my thesis of 60 to 50K. Once we get that final dip down, that's when we'll, kind of bottom. And then from there, my next target for the wave 3 is $5 for Cardano. And what it'll look like is something like this. You'll get an impulse of 1 off the low. You'll get a 2, a 3, a 4, and then a 5. Somewhere in the range of $4 to $5. So that's what's next, Webb, for Cardano, based on what Elliott Wave rules suggest. Is we should get a 5-wave impulsive move off of this low, and it'll look something like this. Once we get this initial impulse of 1 and impulse 2, we'll be able to target out what the wave 3 leg is. So like, for example, we'll get a wave 1, a wave 2, and then once we get that, we'll use the fib retracement tool and then target out, what the sub wave 3 target is going to be, and then we'll do the same thing for the 5th. But until further notice, Cardano has a little bit more downside, and then we'll see $5 for the next wave. Sure, I missed your live yesterday. Yeah, no worries. We analyzed gold yesterday, it's very similar to SPY in the fact that it's in a fifth of fifth. But we'll jump into gold now. Webb said thanks. Yeah, absolutely. MLB, what's going on, man? How you doing? What are you buying? I'm still not buying anything until the final dip of Bitcoin. So once we get this dip right here, but the ones that are on my radar are VeChain. I'm looking to get some VeChain because I don't have that currently. MSTR, I'm looking to buy some MSTR on this last dip. More Bitcoin, I'm looking to dollar cost average into some Bitcoin on the dip. I might buy a little bit more Hedera. There's a bunch that are on my radar, to be honest. It's kind of just a pick and choose. So many alts have been just brutaled, and they're just really good entries right now. I might buy some SUI. I like SUI from the fundamental standpoint, and it looks good. But for Bitcoin, for me, we have one more bounce up, and then we get a dump. And on this dump, this is when I'm going to be dollar cost averaging in. So once Bitcoin starts this move, when it's probably going to look like this, we get a bounce, and then we get a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3. On this wave 3, that's when I'm going to start dollar cost averaging into selective altcoins. I'm going to start dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. I'll probably pick up some MSTR as well. And during that period of time, we're going to have phenomenal buying entries. Red Cloak said Bitcoin is going to go to 200 during recession. Well, that's what I think a lot of things. For me, I'm just going based on the chart. I don't really factor in, again, I don't factor in recession. I don't factor in liquidity. That's just not part of my strategy. I think what's going to happen is, you just saw the SPY chart, right? We still have 3 more subwaves left, which maybe happen into the summer. And during that period of time, we should see Bitcoin go parabolic into the summer. And then once SPY sells off, gold sells off, silver sells off, copper sells off, that'll all funnel into crypto. And then we'll get some parabolic euphoric moves into the end of the year, and then we'll get the sell-off. I think, because in 2020, they were doing that same shit too. I remember seeing it in 2020. Every, guru investor was saying, they were saying recession's going to happen in or was it after 2020? Was it after COVID? I can't remember, but I remember seeing all these articles out there of recession, and it was prolonged for like a year and a half, and you had these huge run-ups in 2021 when everyone was thinking recession. So I think that same thing's going to happen again. We're going to get a big run-up into this year, and then we'll get the sell-off into next year. Again, that's just my personal opinion. I think that all liquidity is going to come from gold sell-off, silver sell-off, copper, and SPY. Once all that sells off, we're going to get huge inflows into Bitcoin. And what I do think is happening right now is retail is funneling into gold, they're funneling into silver, they're funneling into copper, they're funneling into these commodities that have had these parabolic legs, because typically retail follows the shiny object syndrome. They see what's moving the fastest and they buy into it, not knowing the technicals or charting of what the asset is doing. And if we just saw SPY, or we'll go to gold in a second, I'll show you why. But gold is in its 5th leg parabolic move, whereas all these articles are coming out where Bitcoin's going to gold's going to 7,000. You get, Morgan Stanley pumping out all these articles. You get all these institutions pumping out articles to get retail to buy gold. What are they doing? The institutions are directly selling to gold right now. They're selling gold to retail because they need retail's liquidity to sell their positions. In order to sell these large positions that like Morgan Stanley and the institutions have, they have massive sell orders. You need a lot of buy orders in order to sell. So they've been selling gold now probably for months. And what they're doing right now is accumulating Bitcoin. That's why price has been correcting so slow. And you get these big impulsive moves down, then you get these slow, choppy, corrective movements. Is they're loading up on Bitcoin right now, selling gold, loading up on Bitcoin, while retail is buying Bitcoin or gold. Once Bitcoin starts going parabolic, retail is going to sell their gold and then buy Bitcoin. So that's what I think is going to happen. For Bitcoin, I see potential triangle from form at current way forward. Do you see same thing 1 hour? So I don't really trade anything lower than monthly, weekly, or daily time frame. For me, the 4 hour and the hourly just get too choppy, and it just doesn't necessarily look that clean. I like to go on larger time frames because I'm not really a day trader. I don't invest for like, I don't buy and then sell in a day, so I don't really go lower than the daily time frame. For me, this almost looks like an A wave, an A, B, C, B wave, and then we should see an A, B, C, C wave up, and then we'll get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movement down. That for me is kind of what I'm thinking is next for Bitcoin. This guy don't miss. I appreciate that, MLB. I'm trying my best, man. I'm trying my best. I'm not perfect by any means. I'm still human. I make mistakes, but I'm a very much an orderly, disciplined person. I take my emotions out of everything. I just purely look at the charts for what it is, and I do a lot of analysis all the time to double check, like, is this real valid? Is this real valid? I double check it against the book and make sure that everything follows the way that it looks. And then I just put myself out there and, make maybe bold predictions, but so far it's served me pretty well. And I try my best. For me, it just looks like we're in a 1, 2, 3 with this 4 and a 5. I'm still due for one more leg lower. If we look at the 4 hour time frame on Bitcoin, it does look like you can see it, right? Like everything's very corrective, where make sure everything's in there. So like on this leg dump, right? This is an impulse of 5 down. Look how fast moving that was. This structure there's no impulse to it. It's all corrective. So we had an A, B, C, A. This to me almost looks like an A, a B, and a C of a larger wave B, and then we should get an A, B, C up. Only price action is going to be able to determine that. I don't know if, do we get a bounce up? That's my thesis, is we get a bounce and then we get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move down. We also could get a quick drop from here, which is fine. If we get something like this, where we get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movement off of these lows, that's fine. I don't mind that, because all that means is we're due for the leg 5 and we're close. And once that happens, it's just a closer time frame for me to dollar cost average to the next impulse up. Raj said, can we talk tomorrow? Yeah, absolutely. Can you shoot me a DM, Raj? Actually, I meant to do it yesterday. I forgot. Can you shoot me a DM on TikTok? If you don't mind doing that, that would be great. And then we can chat for sure. Yeah, I think silver comes back to 30 to 50, then I will buy. Yeah, I think so. Let's go into gold. We can go into silver next, but like, gold, for example, if we look at gold, I think it's this one. Oh, this is the one we were looking at yesterday. Okay, everything's saved on here, which is perfect. Let me get everything into chart here. It's a little bit harder to get it all into the vertical format. Again, on TikTok, I do have the landscape format. I would prefer if y'all go to the landscape format. I'm not gonna, tell you what to do, but on the landscape format, you can see my entire screen, whereas like in this vertical format, if you're holding the phone, like this instead of like this, if you're just holding it like this, you only see a portion of my screen. But on landscape, you'll see the whole thing. But for me, this is kind of what gold structurally looks like. You have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and then we're in the 5th. And of this 5th wave, it's similar to SPY. So going down to the daily time frame on gold, let me make sure. Fuck, I need to change all the colors. Hold on. This is the macro, so let me change that color to white. Yes. Okay. So on the. Oh wait, let me get this in. So on the 5th wave, which is this yellow 5th wave, or this white 5th wave, rather, you have a wave 4, and then you have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and then we're in the 5th of 5. So we're in the 5th subwave of the larger wave 5. Now, on the daily time frame, when we look at this, we can analyze this 5th wave. And if I can get this into screen, we can analyze this 5th wave, which is noted by these yellow moves. So of this white 5th wave, which is the larger 5th wave, we have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and then we're in the final leg 5. Now, of this, I'm trying not to confuse y'all. So we have a large wave 5, right, which is denoted by the white. That's the large wave 5 that's happened since 1970. That's the large, big picture wave 5. Then we have the yellow, which is the smaller sub wave 5 of the larger wave 5. Now, of the smaller sub wave 5, meaning this yellow one, we also have a 5-wave movement within inside of the smaller subwave. Now, if we go to the smaller subwave, it looks like we almost have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and then a wave 5. It looks like we've already topped out. So we have a 1 through 5 move on the smallest time frame. Then we have a 1 through 5 move on the medium time frame. And then we have a 1 through 5 move on the larger time frame. What is next is a massive ABC correction like this. Let me move this out of the way. Give me a second. So we've had a 5-wave move for the white. We've had a 5-wave move for the yellow. And then we've also had a 5-wave move of the yellow. I didn't note it on there. I probably should have did green colors, but we have a 5-wave move of a 5-wave move of a 5-wave move. What comes next is something like this. We have an A, B, and a C correcting this entire movement. So it doesn't just correct the small wave, it corrects this entire movement from start. Now, using the fib retracement tool to gauge a wave 2 target, because this is a 1 through 5 movement of a larger wave 1. The wave 2 target typically targets the 0.5 to 0.618, which is right at around 2,700 to 2,100 for gold. Now, it could get a shallow. It has to, at minimum, correct to the 0.382, which is at 3,400. In order for it to be a wave 2, it has to correct at a minimum to 0.382. Typically, it corrects between the 0.5 and 0.618, which is 2,700 to 2,100. So basically, anywhere between 2,000 to 3,400 is the next target for gold, which is cutting the price in half. So that's what's next for gold. Like, based on the chart, based on the analysis, on the large time frame, on the small time frame, and then the smaller time frame, this is what's next for gold, is a 50% retracement. How to master Elliott wave theory is quite complex to me. It is very nuanced, I will say. It is very complex. That's why I don't go down typically lower than the daily time frame, because then you start getting these, like, really just, you get too much information. For me, the monthly time frame is a little bit easier to identify, because if you're looking at gold right here, let me hide this, or I'll just erase this. Like, if you're looking at gold right here, I was to tell you, Carlo, analyze this chart. What do you see? Well, what you do is, or at least this is how I do it. Let me remove everything. So if you were to look at this chart right now, Carlo, you could tell me that you probably see this, right? You probably see this is 1, 2, right? That's an easy one to see. First, identify the 1 and then identify the 2. After that, it's a little bit more challenging, but once you identify a big swing high and a big swing low, mark it out on the chart. Okay, we have this massive move up with this massive move down. That's a 1, 2. So you label it. Okay, 1, 2. Oh, where do I see another swing high and another swing low? Well, I see a swing high here and a swing low here. That's a 3, 4. Then what do I see next? A wave 5. So just take it in bits. Don't try to do it in everything all at once. Just try to knock out little bits and little chunks first. And then once you get the 1, 2, then get the 3. Then once you get the 3, then get the 4. And then jump down to the weekly time frame to analyze the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5 on the larger time frame. That would be my advice, but it does take a lot of time. It does take a lot of practice. For me, that book that I recommended at the beginning of the stream is just basically what I would do is I would have charts up and I'd have the book right in front of me. And then I would look at the chart, look at the book. Does this pass this rule? Yes. Does this pass this rule? Yes. Does this pass this rule? No, it can't be that. Okay, what could it potentially be? Go back to the chart, analyze. Look at the book. Okay, what type of complex structure is this? Okay, it's this, it's this. So just, you take a chart and analyze it against the book, stick to the rules as best as you possibly can, and then just put a lot of time and practice into it, and eventually you'll get to the point where it's just ingrained in your head, and then you just see movements on the chart that you wouldn't expect. I have 3,800 on gold. Yeah, I do think that hits for sure. Is Solana close to going? Close to going. 295 to 80 is insane. Yeah. Well, first off, welcome, Ken, to the stream. I appreciate you stopping by. If this is your first time, welcome. I appreciate the support. So just want to say thank you for joining the stream. We just did gold analysis, aka don't buy gold right now. That would be my opinion. Gold does not look like a period of time where you'd want to be buying. But we can go to Solana. Let's go to Solana. Wait, not that one. I want to go to the spot crypto. I think I have everything saved on the chart. And when you're looking at charts too, Carlo, when you're looking at, charts and trying to analyze, what waves they're in, typically Elliott wave theory is more geared towards a longer established price history. So like gold, for example, it's been around for, a really long time. SPY, we have a long price history. When you have like recently launched tokens, you can use Elliott wave theory, but it's got to be on a really small time frame, like a 4-hour time frame, because you're only using it to invest for a short period of time. Whereas if you're looking, for me, this is my strategy, is I buy and hold for multiple years. I don't, buy and then sell in 3 months. I buy a position and hold for, 6 months to 12 months to sometimes even 3 years. So when I'm analyzing these charts, I'm looking at, okay, where can I buy and hold for multiple years? Which is why I use the monthly time frame, because that's what my strategy is geared around. And honestly, it eliminates a lot of the noise. You get to identify big moves. And everyone likes to sell you this. Don't get caught up in it. The best advice that I can give you is avoid crypto and TikTok, or not TikTok, avoid like the typical crypto influencer day trading TikTok. If you can, get that off your algorithm, because all they're going to do is play on your emotions, get you to be fearful, get you to be greedy, get you to think that you can make $200,000 in 2 months day trading. It doesn't work like that. Maybe there's a 1% to 0.5% of people out there that can do that, but the 99 to 99.9999% of people, it doesn't work. The only thing they're trying to do is sell you a course, sell you a Discord channel where they do call outs on, and half the call outs are wrong. Maybe you get a winner here and there and you feel good about yourself, but then 99% of their positions go to zero and you end up net losing. But they play on the fact that, hey, my next one's going to be the winner. Don't get caught up into that garbage. It's a bunch of bullshit. And analyze it on the monthly time frame. Look for solid positions based on fundamentals and technicals. Buy and hold. Don't get caught up into the day trading nonsense. It's a fucking scam. Red cloak unless you buy VeChain. Y'all are crazy with VeChain, man. I show one VeChain chart with technicals and the targets are 50x from here, and everyone's salivating over VeChain. But yes, I will say I am buying VeChain. Full disclosure, on the dip down, I am buying VeChain and I will be holding it. Again, my personal opinion, my personal decision, not investment advice. But VeChain, based on the technicals, it has good fundamentals behind it. Based on the technicals, the next target for VeChain is, yes, a 50x potential. Can it get there? Possibly. But it was over a 60x. Yeah, it was like a 70x potential on VeChain. Do with that information what you will. I will be personally buying it. I will probably do like a little screenshot and say like, hey, I bought some VeChain. We're riding VeChain to the moon. But again, it's a smaller market cap token. We don't have a long price history on it. Is it as reliable as Matt's laughing? Is it reliable as the gold chart we just showed? No. Elliott wave theory is, again, geared for more longer established price history. You have a big market cap like Bitcoin, SPY, gold, stocks, with newer launch tokens that have been around for a few years. Like, it's not as reliable, but it can be used as a guide. If we hit a 60x, 70x, Raj has already said he's getting us discounts on the Marriott hotel memberships in Vegas. So I'm not saying put 50% of your portfolio in it. Take 1% of your overall portfolio, put it into VeChain. If you hit a 60x, you make a bunch of money. Phenomenal. That's what I'm doing. I'm probably going to take a small portion and put it in there. But again, I have 50% of my portfolio in Bitcoin, another 30% in ETH, another 10% in major alts, and then I have another 10% of just some moonbag shit where they're lower market cap tokens. They could go to zero, but they could also hit a 50x like VeChain. That's reserved for 1 to 5% of my overall portfolio. So there's my little spiel. Let me get off my spiel now, and we'll entertain some 50 to 70 X's. That's golden advice. Appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, Solana. Sorry, I got on my tangent. I've got distracted. Okay, so for Solana, we do have a 5-wave move up for a wave 1. So we do have a wave 1. We do have a wave 2. And then so far after the wave 2, what we have is the start of wave 3. So this is essentially what the chart looks like. We have a wave 1, a wave 2. Then we're in the macro wave 3. Of the macro wave 3, we have a wave 1. We have a wave 2. We should see another wave 3, a wave 4, and then a wave 5. That's what's next for Solana. We get 3 more waves, and that will be the top of wave 3. Let me mark it out on the chart so you can see what I mean and remove some of this garbage on it so it's not as distracting. So let me get this out of the way and I'll show you how I got that. So essentially what we have is, I'm going to put it off to the side so it doesn't so we have a wave 1, a wave 2. We're waiting for the macro wave 3, then we'll get a macro wave 4, and then a macro wave 5. Now, of this macro wave 3, this white one right here, we have the initial 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movement. We're in the ABC2. Now we're waiting for the 3, the 4, and the 5 of this macro wave 3. To target out what is this potential next target for Solana, for the mini wave 3 of the macro wave 3, we can use the trend-based fib extension from the bottom of wave 1 to the top of wave 1 to the bottom of wave 3. And I do think Solana comes down a little bit further. It's at what, $83 right now. I say we see maybe somewhere like 70, 65 Solana. On the next Bitcoin dump, I think a lot of altcoins will correct. So I'm thinking a little bit lower for Solana. Now, if we correct to like $65, the next target on Solana is the 1.618 for the mini wave 3 of the macro wave 3, which is at $532. That's my next target, using this as a guide, but also following the rules of Elliott Wave 3. Wave 3 typically extends to the 1.618. It doesn't necessarily have to. It only has to go above the length of wave 1, which is at 355. As long as wave 3 hits 355, it satisfies all the rules. It can extend to the 2. It can extend to the 2.618. You can also get super extensions past that, but typically the wave 3 extend to the 1.618. It also can extend to the 2, which is at 641. So somewhere around 500 to 600 is a good range for Solana in this next move up. Raj put the chat in there. We're all going to freaking Vegas, baby. Yep, I got around 300,000 just in case. Kent said thanks. Yeah, absolutely, Kent. Absolutely. So that's my next target on Solana. I think there's maybe a little bit more downside, but the upside is towards 532. I need to talk with you, Nick. Yeah, send me a DM, man. Send me a DM, Raj. I promise I'll answer. Just send me a DM. I will definitely, once I get off the stream, I'll message you in the DM for sure. How low can Solana go from here before moving upwards? So typically, let's see. I want to say, let me move some of this stuff out the way. I think for me, based on where we're at right now for Solana, we have, where's the thing? There it is. So for me, for Solana right now, we have this structure on the daily. So essentially what we have is a wave A, an A, B, C, B, and then and then from here we get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movement down similar to Bitcoin. And for me, what we've had so far is, I can't remember the count. I think it was 1, 2, we've had the 3, we've had the 4, and then we're in the 5th. And of the 5th wave, there was like a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and then we should see one more leg lower. Using that as a guide and using Elliott Wave 3 rules as a guide for what a potential low would be, we take the bottom of wave 3 to a potential top wave 4. So anywhere between like $67 to $50 is the bottoming zone for Solana. Those are my next targets on Solana, basically 67 to 53. And then after that, the next target's that $500 target, which was we were just talking about. It's not much downside. I mean, it is kind of significant downside. I'll be honest. I already sold my Solana. I don't personally own any Solana. I sold it back. I bought it at 15 and sold it like 250. So I took kind of my gains and took it on the wave B bounce. But for Solana right now, it's anywhere between 67 to 53. Kent said doesn't make sense though. So $70 to 150 will happen quickly in a spring. 70 to 500 would be crazy. Again, I don't trade based on time, so that's like not part of my strategy. It is crazy to think about, but if you think about what happened with Solana from the lows to the highs, I mean, we had a massive, run up from $8 all the way to 280. Oh wait, that's not even in screen. So we had a massive run up from 2022 to 2024. So yeah, that was a period of 2 years, but you had a massive run up to here. I'm not getting tripped up with, the timing and the narratives and recession and where's liquidity going to come from and all this other bullshit. I don't get caught up in that stuff. I think it's all news. I think it's narratives. Again, I try to pay the least amount of attention to what others are doing and just focus on what I got to do. If I'm being completely transparent with y'all, I don't view any other crypto creator shit. I don't look at it. I don't pay attention to it. I know Raoul Pal's a big person in the space and he got me into crypto, or not got me into crypto, but he got me, he kind of started that journey, so to speak. And Raoul Pal's a big voice in the crypto space. I don't pay attention to Raoul Pal. I don't pay attention to all these laundry lists of people that talk about crypto. I focus on my strategy. I focus on what I got to do. And for me, it serves me well. One, it cuts out all the noise because I'm only focusing on my strategy and that's it. And I know that you might say, well, Nick, what about collaboration? Talk with others. You can bounce ideas off each other. That confuses the shit out of me. I don't like that. I don't like, because Raoul Pal has a different strategy than I have. And then this person trades on momentum. And then this person trades on ICT concepts. And then this person trades on the moving average strategy, and then this person thinks we're trading on recession indicators. Again, for me, it's all noise. I don't pay attention to the news. I don't pay attention to what others are doing. I pay attention to my charts, and I pay attention to y'all. That's it. I go on stream. I talk with y'all. I don't focus on no other bullshit. I just focus on myself. And is that selfish? I don't know. Does it cut out the noise? Yes. It eliminates all bias. I don't have anyone else's theories in my head. I don't have anyone else's thought processes, opinions. I don't have anyone else's thoughts. All that I do is what I come up with up here. That's it. So when y'all see my videos, I don't copy shit. I don't look at anyone else's shit. I don't be like, oh, well, that creator did this, so let me make a video on this. No. Everything that I do is authentic. It's only me. That's it. It's myself, the charts, and y'all. That's all I do. And for me, it makes me happy and it makes me feel good. And that's what I do. So I know that's a long-winded answer, Kent, and I know I went on a tangent there, but needless to say, do I have a crystal ball? Can I predict where the market's going to go? No, no one does. No one knows where it's going to go in 100% certainty. However, the market is based on probabilities. You have to identify zones of high probability buying and high probability selling. That's what everyone's doing. It's where can I buy right now of a high probability of making money? That's the goal of the market. It's where do I buy, where do I sell, and where I buy affects directly where I sell. If I can identify undervalued positions, buy in and hold it for a period of time, make some money, that's the entire goal of investing. That's the entire goal of every trader, every investor. That is your number one job, is buy down here, sell up here, make money. That's it. That's your entire job as an investor, is buy and sell. That's all you have to do. You have to push a green button, push a red button. That's all you have to do. For me, my strategy is geared around Elliott Wave Theory. That is my preferred strategy. That's the only thing that I use. I don't use anything else. And of this strategy, it serves me very well. It allows me to identify zones of high probability bottoming and zones of high probability topping. And for me, the next zone for Solana is this wave 1, wave 2, and wave 3 to $500. How we get there, I have no clue how we're going to get there. No idea. Do I have theories? Sure. But the charts and the technicals and everything suggest $532 is next. That's my spiel. That's all I got. Healthcare Misfit said, here we go. What's going on, man? Welcome back. Welcome back. I appreciate the support. High Speed said, me too, Nick. I get confused from all those damn people. Yeah, it confuses the fuck out of me. So I just stopped listening to everyone. And is that counteractive to what I'm doing? Because y'all are listening to me? Possibly. But again, I do this for the love of the game. I don't care about the clout. I don't care about the views. I don't care about nothing. I do it for the pure love of the game, and I enjoy community. That's what I was planning on doing, is talking about a passion that I love, which is finance, investing. For me, I think I'm very good at it. I have like a brain for it. I just have a natural ability to look at charts and see what it's doing. I don't know why, I just can. I can't explain it. I've always had a thing for numbers. I've always had a thing for finance. It just made sense to me. I never had to try in business school when I went to college. I was studying accounting and finance. I never had to study a day in my life. I just went into the tests, took the tests. It just made sense. I don't know why. It's just natural. It's just a natural God-given ability I have. So for me, a passion of mine is charting, investing. I love it. But another passion of mine is community, having like-minded people like myself that we can come into the community, hang out, chat, fuck around, have a good time. So I wanted to take the two together, put out my social media channels, help others that may not have a passion for investing or just want to do it themselves, and help them make money. So that's, a good thing. I want to help others. And I like the community aspect of it. You can choose to listen to me. You can choose not to. I don't care. I'm going to keep streaming every single day. I'm going to be keeping posting content. Again, it's for the pure love of the game. Red Cloak said, "How diverse should a portfolio be? Right now, I just have VeChain." All right, either you're bullshitting with me or you're telling the truth, and I need to know the answer because that's going to directly affect how I answer that question. I don't know if you're bullshitting with me because we're all riding VeChain to $1 million, but gotta be honest with me, Red Cloak. Are you bullshitting me or are you all in on VeChain? Webb said, "Can we do silver?" Yeah, we'll jump over to silver right after Solana. Or we're done with Solana. We'll jump over for sure. Raj said it's very, very confusing. Different YouTubers, different opinions. Yeah, 100%. Like, all true. I don't know if you're bullshitting me, Red. I don't know if you're bullshitting me, if you're all in on VeChain or not. Would I advise that? No, I would not advise going all in on VeChain. That would be my personal opinion. I would not advise that. I would say a great portfolio consists of something like this. Let me move this out of the way. A good portfolio for me is, call it 50% Bitcoin. 50% Bitcoin. I would say another 20 to 30% in, I would say probably, let's see, what's that percentage? I would say 20 to 30% in Ethereum. I would even throw XRP in there too, like 20 to 30% like Ethereum XRP. And then another 10% in major altcoins. So think like Link, XRP, some of the, I don't have my crypto. Let me just pull it up so I can see. So I would go, looking at the top chart right now, I would go 50% Bitcoin. I would go 20 to 30% Ethereum. This is what I personally do to make sure that I have quality exposure. And then I'm also allowing myself to have some risk mitigation, because some of these altcoins can go to zero, but you also want to like partake in it. This is just how my mind works. So this is how I do it, is 50% Bitcoin, like 20 to 30% Ethereum, 10% major alts. You could put like XRP, Binance, Solana, Cardano, Chainlink, XLM, HBAR, like anything within like the top 50, I would go 10%. So that's what, 50, let's nix this, let's go 30. So 50, 80, 90, I would do another 5% in like small to mid-size altcoins. So think like VeChain would be a small to mid-size altcoin because I think it's like 600 million market cap. Maybe something like VeChain. CeeLo is another one I like. I like the fundamentals behind CeeLo. CeeLo is another good one. But like think like anywhere between like 300 million market cap to like 600 million. I'd put another 5% in there, and then I would put anywhere between 1 to 5% in just low cap shitters. This is my personal strategy. I'm not advising this. You can do with this what you will, but you have a proper risk management strategy. You have 50% in Bitcoin, you have 30% in Ethereum, you have 10% in major alts, another 5% in like small to mid-size. They've kind of proven themselves alt. Then you have another 1 to 5% in whatever the fuck you want. You can put it in, I don't know, what are some low, like Fartcoin, well, Fartcoin has like a 200 million market cap, which is surprising. But like you know, you get what I'm saying. You put in like, you know, dog with hat times two, or you just some of those low cap shitters that you could hit, you know, you could either go to zero or hit 100x, but you're only limiting your downside to only 1 to 5% of your portfolio. That's all you're limiting it to is 1 to 5%. If these go to zero, you have all this protection right here. So you're not necessarily worried as much if it goes to zero, but you're also capitalizing on the upside, because what if one of those shit coins you put 1% of your portfolio in hits 100x and you make a bag and it adds to this overall gain? But then what if one of the other portfolio, what if of this 1 to 5% you pick 3 tokens, one of them hits 100x, another one hits a 2x, another one goes to zero? Well, you're net positive. So for me, it's all about risk management. That's how I would approach it. I hope that answers your question, but this is how I approach crypto and trying to eliminate as much risk as possible. I like outperforming the stock market by 30 years in 2 years. Yeah, I mean, that's the appeal of crypto, right? I mean, these things move really, really quickly, and you can make, you know, instead of waiting 30 years to make a, you know, 5x, you could hit a chain link for a 5x, which is truly incredible. But again, with all of that volatility and with all these potential of big gains, the more that you have to focus on risk management. I can't stress this enough, because if you're putting all your money in low cap shitters, you have a chance to lose everything. You obviously have a chance to gain everything, but you also have a chance to lose everything. So having proper risk management allows you to be more risky with these things. You have huge shield of 80% of your portfolio in the major, basically 90% of your portfolio in major altcoins, 5% in some small to mid caps, and then 1 to 5% some shitters. So even if these things go to zero, you still have this upside, and it'll counteract these right here. Even if all of these coins go to zero, you still have 90% of your portfolio invested in the majors, and that gain alone will counteract your low cap shitters. High Speed said API 3 or Casper. I own API 3 personally. I do own API 3. If you're asking me which one I prefer, toss up, honestly. I own API 3 personally. I don't own any Casper. I want to say that API 3 had some good fundamentals when I remember looking at it, and I'm like, oh, this looks pretty cool. I'm going to invest in this. But other than that, that's all I can really say. When it comes to that. Let me erase all this stuff. But does that make sense, Red Cloak? Does that make sense? Like, that sort of explanation, does that make sense? If it doesn't, just let me know. And you could have been joking when you said all of my money was in VeChain. If you are, I would diversify. I wouldn't personally put everything into VeChain. While it does have really good fundamentals and really good... I'll just clean this up after. Let's go over to silver. Just those two are pretty good in low caps. I own both. Yeah, those would be considered, if you were going to put API 3 or Casper, those would be considered in this band. You'd have the 50, the 30, the 10, and then I would throw API 3 and Casper in the 5%. All right, let me get this in a chart. Mr. Carl said, that strategy, if we have big capital, how about if $500 to $1,000 it's good to put all on Bitcoin? So here's the thing. Red Cloak said definitely. Okay, perfect. So here's the thing. The way that I view money is, if you can't manage $1,000, you won't be able to manage 10,000. And if you can't manage 10,000, you won't be able to manage 100. And then if you can't manage 100,000, you can't manage 1,000,000. While everyone wants to get to that million as quick as possible, you and I both, I want to be able to, you know, Gerald said I'm off now. Until next time. Thanks, Gerald. I appreciate it. Thank you for the Galaxy, by the way, earlier. I really appreciate that. And again, thank you for your support. I will see you in the next one. But to answer your question, Carlo, if you can't manage $1,000 and properly risk manage $1,000, you'll never be able to manage 10,000. And then when you get to 10,000, if you can't manage 10,000, you won't be able to manage 100. And then when you get to 100, you won't be able to manage 1,000,000. So it doesn't necessarily matter your portfolio size. I would recommend this to anyone, regardless of portfolio. If it was $500, if it was $1,000, if it was 10,000, if it was 20,000, I would still abide by the strategy, because having proper risk management is the key. Because if you think about it, if you have 1,000 and you put it all into a low cap shitter and it goes to zero, well, guess what? You lost all your 1,000. But if you put $1,000 and you said, okay, $500 of that is going into Bitcoin, $300 of that is going into Ethereum, $100 of that is going into, XRP, another $100 is going into API 3, and then another $100 is going into Shiba Inu Fartcoin, whatever you want to call it. So if that $100 Shiba Inu Fartcoin goes to zero, you still have another $900 invested into smart plays. So when those appreciate, you counteract the potential loss of the shitcoin. But if the shitcoin goes 100x, then you just turn $100 into 1,000, and then guess what? The shark coin. Yeah, you get what I mean. Some fucking stupid ass coin. Gaming Assault said hi from Dubai. I have never been to Dubai. It is on my to-do list. It is on my places I want to go. So if you have any recommendations for Dubai, I am all ears. I would love to go. I've had some family members go to Dubai and they absolutely love it. So thank you for coming to the stream. I appreciate the support. All right, let's end with silver because it's 8:30 and I said I was going to go till 8:30 today. I want to get some rest tonight because we went a really long time last night on stream. So let's do silver and then we'll end the stream with silver. All right, so again, let's go to the monthly time frame and then let's analyze what we got cooking here. Can I order McDonald's? No. My wife's in the chat now. She wants McDonald's. She is upset. Well, I'm also upset. What do you want from McDonald's? What's your order? What are you getting a McFlurry? What are you getting? Nugs? We just ate dinner. We don't need nugs. High Speed's laughing. This is what she does. But I love McDonald's too. Nugs, smiley. How about we order handles? How about we order handles? I could go for an ice cream. How about that? Handles, thoughts? If anyone's had hilarious. She is the love of my life, but she McFlurry? No, I want handles. If we get ice cream, handles. I don't want a McFlurry, I want handles. All right, so let's go to silver here. Let's get all this into chart. But I could kind of go for a McFlurry. McFlurry's hit, but I like a handles better. If we get anything, let's get handles. We'll talk. Okay, so after we get off, I might be ordering a McFlurry. All right, so this to me looks like a wave 1, a wave 2. Now the problem is this can't be a wave 3 because it doesn't go past this, so that can't be a wave 3. It almost looks like we're in wave 3 right now. Let's see what this target would be. Can you guys see that? Yeah, you can see that. Okay, so wave 1 for silver's somewhere up here. Wave 2, if I can get it. So silver is like extending to almost the 2. We kind of got rejected at the 2, maybe extended almost to the 2.618. So for me, silver looks like we have a wave 1, a wave 2, and then we're kind of in the wave 3, and then we should get a wave 4 and then a wave 5. It's a little bit different than gold, but let's analyze it a little bit further. I want to zoom in here on these monthly candles and see what we got cooking. So silver, I mean, this is definitely a wave 1. And then we have this A, B, C, A, a B, and then we have a C. And then we almost have like this running flat. Then we have a wave 1, wave 2. We have a wave 1 up, wave 2. Wait a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wave 1. Wave 2. Wave 3. No, this can't be wave 1 because this retraced lower. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. There's wave 1. This is definitely a wave 2. Then this almost looks like a 1, 2, 3. Oh, this is an extended third wave. Okay, silver is looking actually pretty interesting here. Okay, so let me mark this out. We have a wave 1 up here. We have a wave 2 down here. We're in the 3, and then we should get a 4, 5. So something like this is left for silver. Now, of this third wave is what we're trying to analyze here. Of this third wave, it almost looks like we have this. So we have, let me get this on the chart. For silver right now, we have a wave 1. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave 1, wave 2. And then we have this 1, 2, 3. We should get a correction 4 and a 5. And that would be a wave 1, wave 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like silver is getting an extended third wave because, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wave 2, wave 3. No, that doesn't work. Wave 1, wave 2, definitely, for sure. This is a wave 1, wave 2, for sure. Now, the only thing is this can't be a wave 3 with a wave 4 because wave 4 can't enter the territory of wave 1. Let me check this real quick. So from the bottom here to the top here, to the bottom here, this did extend to the 2, which would make sense. Okay, so for silver, we essentially have an extended wave. And let me move this over here, just out of the way. Let me move this a little bit further so I can fit everything into the chart. Basically, what we have for silver is something like this. So we have a wave 1. Oh, that's bad. Hold on. We have a 5-wave move, wave 1. We have a wave 2 here, and then we have an extended third wave. So what that means is we have a wave 1, 2, 3. We should get a 4 and then a 5 to complete wave 3. So basically we have wave 1 here, wave 2 here, or wave 1 here, sorry. Wave 2 here, wave 3 up here, then we'll get a wave 4, and then we'll get a wave 5 to complete this 3. So there actually is more bullish price action for silver, which is actually pretty cool because who would have thought silver would continue to fly. But based on what I'm seeing on the monthly time frame, we had a wave 1, a wave 2, and we're in the wave 3. We should expect a pullback, one more wave 5, another pullback, and then another wave. That's what, based on the chart I'm looking at, that's what is next for silver. It looks like an extended third wave because nothing else would fit this thesis unless this is a wave 1, wave 2, this is a wave 3, and we should see a wave 4, wave 5. But again, it doesn't really matter because we should get 2 more waves. So that's what's next for silver. We got more bullish price action, which is kind of cool. We just got to wait for this 4 to finish, and then we can target out the 5th. But I think that, for me, I think might be the last chart of the day, if I'm being honest. I'm going to go and see if I can get some McFlurry or maybe a Handel's dessert. I don't know what yet, but I will be out of town next week. My wife and I are going on vacation, so I will not be going live next week. I'll be live the following week, so not this Sunday. So what's that? This Sunday is the 22nd. I won't be live again until March 1st. I will be posting videos, but I won't be live until March 1st. So just wanted to give you all a heads up that it'll be about a week before I go live again. But I will continue, I'll continue posting content because that I can do right in the morning. So I'm not too worried about that. I might batch film a bunch of stuff and then post it over the week. But if there's any major updates in Bitcoin, I'll be sure to post that. Because again, this is like, I'm addicted to this shit, so I'm not going to be able to put my phone away. I'll try my best, but I can't guarantee anything. I'm going to try and enjoy my vacation as much as I can. But small updates in the morning, I can certainly do. Thanks, bro. See you next time. Enjoy the vacation. Thank you. I am very much looking forward to a vacation, both work and I just need a vacation right now. I haven't taken one in about a year, so I'm very much excited. Have a good time. See you when you're back. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. I will see y'all when I get back. And again, obviously, I'll be posting my content. If I get anything, if we get some major Bitcoin action over the next week while I'm on vacation, best believe you guys will hear from me. I'll say, hey, we're in the wave 5 or we're still corrective. So don't worry about that. I'll make sure that I'm updating y'all. And I hope to see y'all in the next one when I get back. And if you guys are taking vacation or having a good weekend, I hope that you guys enjoy it. And I'll see you when I get back for sure. Web said, thanks, bro. I appreciate that, Web. Very helpful. Absolutely. We go live. Typically, my schedule is Sunday to Thursday, 6 p.m. to 6:30 Eastern time is when I typically try to go live. So Sunday through Thursday is my normal schedule. Obviously, next week I'll be out for vacation. But when I get back, I'll be sticking to that schedule. All right, Carlos. Sounds good. I will see you in the next one. Is that Skylar? No, that's not Skylar. That's Striker. Striker, thanks. Absolutely. I will see y'all in the next one and hope y'all have a good weekend. Okay.